Hi, it's Fiona Gosling from Royal LePage Real Estate Services Limited in Oakville, Ontario, and I'm here to talk to you about what happened in the real estate market in Oakville specifically in September 2018. If you have any questions about any of this or you'd rather just talk about it, feel free to reach out. But for those of you who would rather look at the numbers yourself, here they are. So this first slide is looking at what happened in September 2018 versus September 2017. So it's a year-over-year analysis of what's going on. And you can see that the number of sales are up about 16% from in 2018 versus 2017. There was more inventory on the market, so there's about 10% more things happening, more listings out there to choose from. Our sale price is down slightly by about 4%. This is kind of important overall. The next slide is going to look at the overall trend. And so that's not a great reflection of what's actually happening in the market, that sale prices are down 4%. And our days on market are up about 14%. So if you look at the big picture here, it looks like prices are off of September 2017. And it's taking longer to sell. So you're getting less money and it's taking slightly longer to sell. And I don't think that that is true overall. What we are finding in this market is buyers are being more cautious. There's a lot to choose from. And if things aren't priced properly, they're not selling. But things that are priced properly are still selling. It's just taking a little bit longer. So this is quite a good graph to look at, and I chart what's happened throughout the entire year. So when you look at just the month over month, it's not giving you a clear enough picture of what's going on, and this paints a better picture. So when you look at what's happened from April to September, and again, if you go back to my website, you can see what's happened throughout the entire year. It's just that this is all that fits on the slide. So you can see units sold in April were 288. September, we were down to 238. We had more sales April, May, June, and that's typically our busier spring market. Things then traditionally slow through the summer, July and August. We would expect to see fewer sales. And then we do expect to see things really heating up again in September, October. And what I have found anecdotally this year is that heat up didn't really happen. So 238 sales is quite a low number, all things considered. And I don't know if part of that is because there is uncertainty around NAFTA and what's going on with the states, what's going on with interest rates, all of the rest of it. We're just in a time of uncertainty. And hopefully with that mostly behind us, people will start to buy and sell again in greater numbers. Our inventory was moderate. So again, in September, we expect to see a lot of new listings coming on the market after the slow months of July and August. And we didn't really see that with only 883 units. That's more in line with the summer months. Our months of inventory are up to 3.7 months. So that means if we continue selling at the rate that we sold houses at and no new inventory came onto the market, it would take us 3.7 months to sell out everything on the market. That depends on if you're selling a condo or a townhouse or a detached home, but on average it's 3.7 months, and our average sale price is up to $1,064,000. Days on market 32. So you can see that the average sale price trend has been increasing here month over month in all of 2018. In terms of micro markets, so I just mentioned it really does depend on what type of product you are buying. Oakville still by far sells more detached homes than townhouses or condominiums. It's the way our town is built. So right now we have 4 months of inventory of detached homes on the market. And that means if you want to buy or sell something in that price point, you would better be well priced and be aware that you have a lot of competition out there if you're a seller. And if you're a buyer, you do have a little bit more time to do your due diligence and have home inspections and make sure that you're negotiating a deal that you're happy with. Having said that, as we saw on the last screen, the average sale price is up. So houses are still selling for a good dollar. There's just a little bit more negotiation work happening to get there. The average sale price is almost 1.4 million, and we're sitting on the market 33 days if you're selling a detached home. You can see that there's fewer townhouses that sell, so only 43 townhouses sold, and people only had 106 to choose from. So that means there's 2.2 months of inventory for townhouses, which is really still a seller's market. All of these are seller's markets. The detached is creeping towards a balanced market, but it's still not there yet. And if you wanted an apartment in Oakville, there's only 1.7 months of inventory there. So it's very much a seller's market there. There are more days on market. So there's 42 days on market. But if you're buying a condominium, you're going to it'll be conditional on a status certificate. And that status certificate can take 10 days for the condominium corporation to produce. So that explains the discrepancy in days on market there. It's not that it's taking longer to get to an accepted offer, it's taking longer for the conditions to come off that. So the buyer's turning up at around the same time. And this last slide, you can look at this in more detail on my website, or you can just call me and ask what's happening in your specific neighborhood. But I like this because real estate is so neighborhood specific, and we're seeing real differences in days on market, North Oakville versus South Oakville, and the product. So here you can see the number of transactions that are happening in your pocket or your specific neighborhood. You can see the average days on market, the average sale price, the median sale price, which is an important figure to look at, and your average list to sold ratio there. If you had any specific questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I'm very happy to talk to you about any of this stuff, and I hope you found it helpful. Talk to you soon.